Until I'm gonna use a lot of glitter.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I think I get to keep mine too.
Hey, cheer up, the days are getting longer.
Yeah, that's right, they are, aren't they?
Drink up, Shiners.
Yeah.
What is it, 30 seconds or?
I've got 9 o'clock. We're ready whenever you are.
Oh, I'm looking
We're
at,
ready to roll.
Our clocks aren't synced.
Yeah.
yeah. Are we,
Yeah, it's nice.
let's call the meeting in order. Note the presence of a quorum with all commissioners present. I'd invite you to please stand. We'll begin with the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning. Welcome to guest staff visitors present with us here this morning. First item would be approval of the agenda. There is one addition. It's an add-on facilities committee update by Jim Bright, and that'll be 4.1. Dave, is that correct?
Mr. Chair, that is correct.
Okay,
And if I have a correction and an addition, if you have.
go ahead.
So we also, in your packet was the resolution on the boat and water safety agreement budget. So you should have at your place an updated resolution with that dollar amount.
Okay.
Now added $167,417. And then in the minutes for the December 16th meeting, where Engineer Welly talked about the replacement of the equipment, his presentation included selling the existing equipment through a bid process that was inadvertently left off the minutes, so we would add that to the minutes with your agreement.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Motion, Commissioner Sample approving the agenda as amended with the correction in the minutes.
I'll second.
I think Commissioner Carney supported.
Oh, support, sorry.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. Agenda is approved as amended and corrected. On to comments from the public.
Public.
Is there any citizens' public comment this morning? Second call, comments from visitors. Last call, citizens' public comment. Hearing none, we'll proceed to the consent agenda.
I'd move to accept the consent agenda with the change to the board minutes.
A motion of Commissioner LaVisca moving as corrected. Support.
Second.
Motion supported by Commissioner Westerlund. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. Consent agenda is hereby approved. On to County Auditor. Welcome, Kathleen. Kathleen Ryan, our County Auditor.
So, forgive me, I forgot the agenda again, but I know we're approving our budget resolutions. And I have them in the packet, and like Dave said, we updated the boat and water. Inadvertently, I had left out that total amount when I was updating the resolution, so, we got that updated yesterday, so the appropriate resolutions can be in there. I hate wasting paper, so I don't print anything. So for the budget resolutions, we're just going to, I talked with Chair Weedle and decided if we could just review them all and then pass them as one, if everybody's okay with them. So they're the normal budget resolutions that we kind of adopt each year. The first one is the transfer to Long Lake. This year, we have $25,000 budgeted to transfer from Fund 18 to Fund 19, which is to Long Lake Conservation Center. That is the interest that is earned on in the Environmental Trust Fund. So we always budget about $25,000, and then at the end of the year, once the interest is earned, then that
Commissioner,
amount is transferred.
Just want it on the screen.
You'll note, and if, I don't know if you'll remember or not, in the past, we've had transfers from the park, fund. Also, we are not doing any transfers from the park fund to Long Lake, this year. Is there any questions on that one before I move on to the second one?
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Yes.
is it mandatory that we give Long Lake the interest? I mean, is that statute or?
No, per statute, I believe on the Environmental Trust Fund, and maybe David, you know more, but as far as I understand, regarding the Environmental Trust Fund, we can spend the interest for environmental betterment. We cannot spend the principal. And so it's just historically, before my time, even in the auditor's office, that interest money has been used towards Long Lake to support Long Lake's cause.
Okay, I was just curious, thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
If I could ask a question of Kathleen, when you say the transfer for this year, that's 2025?
Twenty
Or
twenty-six.
2026?
I'm sorry, for
Okay.
2026, yes. We budgeted 25,000 for 2025 budget, and that will be handled after the end of 2025. And this resolution is for the end of 2026.
Right.
The other resolution in there then is our transfer from, Concon Fund 10, and also Resource Development in Fund 11. We do 50/50. DJ budgets that out of the Land Department to cover the Survey Department 100%. So this is the budgeted 50/50 split to cover the Survey Department for 2026. The third resolution is the actual resolution regarding the levy funds. The total amount of levy budgeted is $18,981.45, 18,981,045. It's a 5.24% increase that had been approved in the preliminary budget, outlined here by the funds that those are budgeted for. I'm not sure if there's any other questions on that. Then the next resolution is actually a breakdown of the budget, so it's showing the revenues, expenditures, and the budgeted reserves for those funds also. Those are planned use of budgeted funds. Health and Human Services and Road and Bridges reserves are actually, the plan is to use some other reserve dollars we have to help offset that. Those were caused by our health insurance increases. But we have other budgeted reserves that we're planning to use to offset those at the end of the year. General fund, part of that is the planning and zoning software implementation that's coming in 2026. That one-time setup cost that will be part of that is coming out of the recorder compliance funds to help offset that cost. Are there any other questions?
One question I had, the law library, is that a mandatory? I think it's about 33,000.
Yep. Mr. Chair, I believe the county is required to have a law library.
Yes. But are we required to put a certain amount of money into it?
Not that I'm aware of, Mr. Chair, and Kathleen, you know the budget better than I do, but there's, the only money that goes into that is the fees that come from the court system. There's not county money that goes into that.
I would have to look at it.
So on
again.
fines, there's a designation that it
Right.
goes to law library.
Yep.
That's kind of what I thought,
Yeah,
yeah,
We're not levying law library funds.
Oh, no, we do not levy law library.
right.
oh, you have to go back a slide, but all of the levy that the county board does is on this slide.
Right.
And
Law library is not part of that. The law library is part of a fund that we actually call the trust fund because it holds our MCIT dollars, it holds the law library, but that is not a levy
Yep.
area. Boat and water, that is the one that we updated, so total expenditures in that budget for 2026 will be 167,417. County share of that will be 126,807. Grant dollars are $40,500, and there's some miscellaneous revenue that comes into that budget. Now, this other one is a little bit odd, cause this is, for 2025. We always retroactively, we always set the ditch budget after the fact, cause we're not quite sure what the activity will be. That's always caused by, any, maintenance that Road and Bridge does for those ditches. The ditches noted here actually have funds in their accounts to pay Road and Bridge. The other ditches that receive maintenance are paid out of the Concon funds. So this is the budget for 2025 for the ditches noted on there.
Chair?
Yes,
I got a
Commissioner
question.
Sample?
I got a question on this ditching. When I go up to that joint meeting up in Bemidji, the counties up there, they have a tax that the people that get effects or benefit from that ditching, they're assessed a separate tax. We don't do that? And why?
So historically, from what I understood, and this is information that I've heard from the past auditor, our ditches went bankrupt, and it was past decisions of past county boards not to. So we have not assessed properties to support those ditches. To go back to assess now would mean we would have to retroactively go back and figure out the benefit that all those property owners received from those ditches, assess those values, and then, apply that tax. And then the other piece of it, I think, too, has always been part of the county board's decision of not assessing, is there's a lot of property that is state property, Concon property on those ditches, so it kind of unfairly taxes property owners when there's a bunch of property that wouldn't get taxed.
Okay,
From
I mean,
my understand, like,
that makes
from my
sense to me.
understanding.
It's just that a lot of them counties got quite a bit of money from the state. And I was going, well, why aren't we getting that? So, all right, thank you.
And this was sort of an annual discussion when Commissioner Luik was state representative, against County Commissioner Luik was on the board.
yeah.
Too many ditches. They probably don't have as many as we do.
Commissioner Sample, did you get your question answered?
Yes, I did, thank you.
The next resolution as part of the budget resolutions is actually the non-levy funds, and so that's where that law library comes in. You'll see it there, the revenues and the expenditures, but there's also the other piece of trust, which includes our forfeited tax land management, our county surveyor department, and again, that expenditure and revenue is covered by that 50-50 transfer out of Concon and resource development. We have missing heirs, which is just kind of a holding fund. We don't really budget for that. Our MCIT fund, collaborative fund is handled by HHS. Our environmental trust fund, which again is that 25,000, we'll have 25,000 interest, and then we'll transfer that out to Long Lake at the end of the year. And then our Long Lake budget. Then our next resolution is, transfers. So these are the actual transfers to the Road and Bridge Department for 2025 maintenance. That is the amount that was transferred to them. Again, noted that Judicial Ditch 2, County Ditch 30, County Ditch 36 had funds to pay those expenses. The other funds listed will be, that amount will be coming out of our Concon or County Development Fund. Then, the last resolution regarding budget is our unorganized road and bridge transfers. Again, this is done for 2025, so Road and Bridge submitted their documentation for all the maintenance that was handled in unorganized townships, and that was, that will be transferred to Road and Bridge then for 2025 maintenance. So that is for the budget resolutions.
Commissioners, questions? David?
Mr. Chair, so I would just high-level review. So there was that one slide that showed the levy by fund. If you adopt that, that is what would implement the 2026 tax levy of 18 million and change that. Kathleen had
5.24.
read off is a 5.424% increase.
Yes.
And then you had two slides that set 2026 budgets, one for the levy funds, one for the non-levy funds, and then there were some other slides that did some end-of-year transfers.
So this does include the final levy
Correct.
adoption. Any other comments, Kathleen? Commissioners, questions? If not, as Kathleen indicated, we can do this collectively in one motion. I'd entertain that.
I'll make the motion.
Commissioner Westerland moves the resolution adopting.
Support.
That motion is supported by Commissioner Carney. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. Resolutions collectively are adopted.
Thank you. The next item for me is the adoption of our 2025 reserves. These are funds out of the general fund that have been budgeted in 2025 but have not been spent. We are also carrying over any remaining funds that are in our current reserves. So those will be carried over also, and then the addition of the 2025 funds to be reserved. On this resolution, you'll note a couple negatives. One is in my department is $156. I'm just removing that reserve. I do not need to carry over $156. The other one is in HR. I spoke with Bobby. She's not needing that $5,000 to be held for training. She has sufficient funds in her current budget to cover that. So, a big number on here is we are officially reserving the $2 million out of the general fund that will help offset the Health and Human Services building project. As understood, that's approximately a $6 million budget for that project. And so Health and Human Services has $2 million in their fund. We have the $2 million in bond funds coming from the state, and then the general fund is planning to contribute $2 million towards that project. So I've just reserved that out so we can officially see that. And then otherwise, it's just other budget funds that department heads have requested to carry over into 2026.
Questions? If not, resolution would be in order.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
A motion on the floor to set effect by Commissioner Sample. Support.
Support.
Motion is supported by Commissioner LaVisca. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call it. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Same sign, motion's carried. Resolution is adopted. Thanks very much, Kathleen.
Thank you, and you guys have a Merry Christmas.
And you too.
You too, and a safe
And
New
a,
Year.
and a new year, happy new year.
Happy New Year. Yeah, it'll be after the New Year, won't it?
See you
Yeah.
next year.
On to Veteran Services Officer Penny Arms. Welcome, Penny. Good to see you.
I've always stood, but I'm glad Kathleen sat, because that's
Yeah.
much better. All right, so I haven't done a report in a few years, so I had a lot of work to do to try to catch up with this, but the veteran population has dropped. I've been here 18 years and it was close to 2,000 when I started, and now the estimate is about 1,392. And these numbers are all a year old, of course, from 2024. Lost a lot of the World War II vets we used to take care of, and I don't know why it's overall just dropping, but that's just what it does. We have a lot of federal benefits coming into Aitkin County. Last year, the compensation and pension was over $9 million. Dependency and indemnity compensation, that's for surviving spouses or family members, was over $1 million. And then life insurance paid out was about $44. So the total VA dollars coming directly to veterans who live in Aitkin County is $10,634. $10,634,563. Not used to talking about bills that much. And so that's great because not only does it go to the veterans, but much of it's being spent here, and that's just great. I look at those numbers and it's hard to believe, so I had to do a little breakdown. And in my office, I found 105 veterans with 100% service connection. They're getting close to $50,000 a year, so there's $5 million. The other people between 10 and 90% get about $4 million. And then surviving spouses, dependents, and then there's some pension money for people with low income is about $1 million. The other big piece that the VA provides federally is medical care to veterans in Aitkin County. I use that as much as possible. And that's about $14 million. And the VA has, in the last 5 years, done just leaps and bounds with their community care. So it's not a big deal at all for a veteran, to get an auth from the VA to come to Riverwood or wherever, Cuyuna, somewhere locally. So some of those dollars are coming into our local healthcare facilities, which is great too. 875 Aitkin County veterans received care through or at a VA medical center in 2024. So that's a big chunk that's more than half of the 1392 that we have. So the federal VA indirect expenditures is over 14 million, and the total expenditures, direct and indirect, is over 25 million. I love those numbers. And so for our office itself, from December of 24 to November 30th of 25, we had about 500 office visits. Josh and I aren't always good at keeping track of those, so I'm sure it's probably more. Josh works in McGregor every Tuesday, and then he shares Hill City and Malmo on Wednesdays every other week, and he had about 255 outreach visits. Wow. And he's only working 6-hour days, so I mean that's quite a few people. 670 forms were completed and sent to the VA. We had 81 new clients seen in our office. We still have people moving up from the cities permanently and coming out of the military and like that. So 36 veterans enrolled through our office with VA medical care for the first time in that year. And then we had 95 veterans die in 24 and 25. I go through the obits every week to make sure that I contact family members and make sure they're getting their benefits, so I'm always checking on that. And among the 95 lost were 3 World War II vets, 11 Korean War, 41 Vietnam, 39 peacetime, and 1 Gulf War veteran. So as far as I know, we have 1 remaining World War II veteran. You guys probably know Roy Van Horn. He's 103. Mm-hmm. And his wife is 10 years younger than him, so she's keeping him at home. I think they're getting help with some of the driving now, but she used to bring him in herself. I mean, they're just amazing. So that's kind of nice to have. 24 vet van stats. Last year we had 65 trips to mostly Minneapolis and St. Cloud. Occasionally we might take someone to Hibbing or Brainerd, but we try not to do those parts. We like to have the van available. 67 vets rode the van. Our expenses were $7,856. Reimbursements were $2,728, so the county ended up paying out about a little over $5,000 to help us with the vet van. The Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs has a state soldiers assistance program that we can use for people. We can use it for dental and optical for low income, low asset people. Subsistence if someone is unable to work due to some sort of injury or surgery and they need some help during that time. And then the special needs grants. And so in 2024, 28 vets and their families benefited from the program. 13,000 was used for special needs grants, including a bathroom handicap accessible for 1 disabled veteran, and then also helped to pay for automobile adaptations for another veteran. The VA does have some benefit for that, but it didn't cover the whole thing, so we were able to use that for them. The remaining was for routine dental care and eyeglasses for veterans. And so the total for 24 was over $29,000. Then I get the operational improvement grant from Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs every year in $10,000. So in fiscal year 25, yeah, they go October to October. I think I have a number wrong. 3,450 was used for office supplies and equipment. 3,000 on advertising, including new business cards, And we got this beautiful retractable banner that sits in the hallway, so now when people look, they can see where they're supposed to go to find us. And then just under 3,000 was spent for training and membership dues, and $400 for van repair. So the Aitkin County Veteran Service Organizations keep us supplied with $25 gas and grocery cards and bags of household goods. And so we're able to help to give them out to veterans when they come in and they need them. For 2024, donations below were 38 gas cards that we gave out, 20 grocery cards, 9 bags filled with household supplies. And then just this November, we got four $500 gift cards from the American Legion Riders. And so one person had a $900 car repair, and she called and said, my husband and I had to spend this. Can I get a grocery card? And she comes in and I gave her this, and she was just about in tears. So that's always fun to do. I have a great job. I absolutely love it. We also received about $3,500 in donations from veterans groups and community members in the past year. And those funds have been used for, we did a plumbing repair, had to get a Minnesota ID for someone, electric bills, other miscellaneous items, things that Josh and I can make the decision on, and they're not rules and regulations, and oh my God, we can only do this. So our current balance there is $1,683. And I don't know if you guys know about the Homeless and Wounded Warriors of Minnesota group. Yeah, I'm sure you guys do. They're just fabulous. They raise so much money, and they help with big expenses for veterans. And so this last year, they've done over $11,000 for veterans' electric bills, special transportation. This man needed special transportation to go to the Mayo Clinic, wasn't through the VA. It was $597, so that was a nice thing. And I had another veteran who, they had bed bugs, and that's $2,300. And what was he gonna do? You know, his daughter had to go stay with her mom, he had to go stay with a friend. We were able to cover that through the Homeless and Wounded Warriors. So that's just been a huge thing that really lets us help people that we didn't have before. So we collaborate with all kinds of organizations, Health and Human Services, the Workforce Center, Homeless Coalition, Hope, Habitat for Humanity. We also sometimes, I have 3 vets that every year I help them with their food stamps, medical assistance, and their energy assistance apps. They know me, they give me their social security form when it comes in, so I can make copies as we go, and we just take care of them as best we can. Josh and I have seen great improvements on the VA getting things done quickly. It used to take just months waiting for a disability claim. And now I've seen, especially hearing loss claims, are done in 3 weeks and totally approved. So 3 to 8 weeks has kind of become the average in the last 4 to 6 months. CHAMP VA is a benefit that if a veteran becomes 100% total and permanent disabled, then the spouse and family members can get CHAMP VA. They were taking 6 months to process. Now they're done in 3 weeks. The overall backlog for claims at the VA has been cut more than 50% since the first of the year. So that's just all been a wonderful benefit for our veterans. And it's made it easier for us. We're not getting all the phone calls. What's going on? Why is it taking so long? So it's just a win-win. So we have a huge elderly population in Aitkin County. I think 60% of the veterans are over 55 or over 60, so it's a lot. We continue to working to ensure that they can use all the resources that are available for the VA. It's the goal of the VA to keep veterans in their home as long as possible. So if they're enrolled in the VA healthcare system, they can get home care services for free. They can get adult daycare. They can get ramps, medical supplies, assistive devices, hearing aids. And it's our job to ensure that they utilize all the benefits they can so they can stay in their homes. Do we have any questions?
Commissioners,
I do, Mr. Chair.
Of course
How
you
many
do.
veteran suicides have we had in the last year?
You know, I didn't track that. I know there's 2 recent ones.
Yes.
I actually don't know in Aitkin County, well, that was probably 3 years ago. I don't know other than that.
No, I just know in 22, between 3 counties, Aitkin was one of them, we had 9 suicides.
Wow, And you know, I don't always know that.
Right.
I read the obit, and if nobody comes and tells me, I actually don't remember anyone saying that, so, other than the two that you had talked about this last month,
Yeah,
so, yeah.
I get it. And then one other question, Champ VA. I got an individual I'm gonna have call you. Or actually, and they might have already, I had advised them to, but I'll talk to you offline about that.
Okay,
All right, thanks, Penny.
all right.
You guys do a great job.
Yep.
Good job.
Wonderful job.
Well, I'm happy to be here, I got a couple
appreciate
years
the
left, and I'm
information.
glad
It's
you're
been a
keeping
while.
me. Yes.
Penny, I'm sure I speak for everybody here, but I can't begin to tell you how many compliments I get on you and Josh
Yep.
on the tremendous job you do
Thank you,
serving our veterans. Thank you.
thank you, I love it. All right, you
Thank
guys
you.
have a
Merry
great day.
Christmas.
Merry
Thank you.
Christmas.
Pass that
Thanks.
on to
Yeah.
Josh too.
I will,
You guys
I
are
always do.
awesome.
Thanks.
On to the add-on item, Jim Bright, a brief facilities update. Welcome, Jim.
Morning.
Morning.
You saved Brett and I from having to do a report here.
Yeah, that's what I figured is kind of help you out a little bit.
You're
So-
not getting a bonus.
Yeah. The biggest thing, of course, going on is the remodel of the Health and Human Services building. It's been going very well. We've been staying on track time-wise. We at the beginning of the project, we had set aside $303,000 for contingency dollars. So that's things that you find in the remodel that come up. That number was set by a percentage of the total budget. So as of right now, we have spent $56,000 out of that contingency. At this point, we are probably 75% done with mechanicals. So your plumbing, your electrical, heat, those type of things are just about done. Those are typically your biggest expenditures that you come up with, different things. Structurally, everything's been opened up. We know everything there, so there's nothing new, nothing big that's gonna hit the budget. So we're sitting very well with our contingency dollars for staying on budget with the project, so that's a good thing. We are just finalizing the technology quotes. We're finalizing the security quotes, so that would be the card readers, cameras, things like that, and furniture. If you would like to get under Sarah's skin a little bit, just bring up furniture at this point in time, and that will get her a little bit riled up. It's just furniture is a lot.
Yeah.
The commissioners that were here when this building was built, that's a ongoing, everyday process for months trying to get that established, but we're just about complete with that.
So Jim, isn't there like an outlet store in Brainerd
Yeah. The,
that they use for?
Mart.
Yeah, well, they have Jack.
Restore.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the restore.
So, yeah, nope, so we're just finishing up that. We will have we've been getting drawings, we've been seeing, things like the, workstations are picked out, the office furniture for each office is picked out, lobby furniture, that stuff's picked out. It's just the small things, the, what they call toolbars that are going in cubicles, finding out who wants what to go on there, what, fits their job, what their space, what they need for storage, things like that. So it's getting that all wrapped up, but that should be complete in the next couple weeks. We just had a construction meeting yesterday morning. There's construction meetings the second and fourth Monday of each month. So twice a month, we have construction meetings. Get everybody there, talk about different issues. So we're moving along good. I would suspect the week of the 5th, we will start sheetrocking. And that will be just kind of getting started. We'll be finishing up, getting inspections on electrical, getting heating, framing, things like that. Then it'll be full guns sheetrocking and starting in on the finishes. So
Great.
we're on on track right at the time, sometime in June, to have this completed. Sarah's asked me, do we have a date yet? And I'm like, not exactly, because I would much rather make sure that we get all of our punch lists done, we get everything completed before they move in, then we don't have to worry about getting workers into the FTI areas and moving people out of offices. And so I keep telling her we'll get you as soon as we can, but we want to make sure it's complete when we move you in. So, but yeah, everything is going very well over there. And as I've always told you in the past, anytime you want to walk through the project, take a look at where we're at, don't hesitate to get a hold of me. And I'm in there every single day. In fact, I think David has stopped looking at my office and he just comes over there to find me. So I can take you on a tour anytime. So any questions about the HHS project?
Mr. Chair.
Yep, Commissioner LaVisca?
First, I'd just say I did walk through there about, a month ago with you, and it was weird walking into that building and not knowing where anything used to be, because everything was completely gutted. But, how are things going at the two temporary locations now?
There's been a few minor issues that we've dealt with, nothing major. I think everybody understands it's a temporary, temporary spot. Every time that something comes up, we try and address it right away. But yeah, I think things are going okay.
I know one that I was more concerned with was after that, I went and visited the two temporary locations. And I think there was an issue with some air coming through one of the doors next to a desk at the VFW building.
Yep,
So as long as I hope we had that shored up before it got too cold. So.
yep. Yeah, no, there's been a few things like that. When we had to build a temporary wall at the VFW, and where we walled it off, we walled off the heat. So there's no heat in the lobby. Things like that. But we've made arrangements at night to keep a fan blowing in there to keep the heat. And then when it gets really cold, we've just got an electric heater that we can stick in there just for the day.
Yeah.
But it's just things like that you don't see. Take care of them.
Commissioner Sample?
Did we figure out what we're gonna do with the parking lot over at the VFW? They say it was a skating rink.
It was an absolute skating rink. It was glare ice. Like in our center facilities meeting,
The highway
the highway department, Scott Kellerman, Butch Olson, I give them a call. They get trucks over there to sand it right away. They've been great. The other location, that parking lot was also a skating rink. We can't really get our county trucks in there, but they made sand available for us. My staff went out, got some pails of sand, spread it around over there. If we get reports of slippery spots, doesn't matter where it's at, we try and take care of them right away.
I just think it's awesome that we have interdepartment help, that's why I wanted to bring up the parking lot
Yeah, in this parking lot.
and this parking lot
Yeah.
also.
And the snow removal, I don't even call them, we get a big snow, as soon as they get the county roads in shape, they have trucks here to remove it so that we don't lose parking spaces, keep everything going, so, yeah, no, it is,
And then,
it's nice, we're all Aitkin County, we're not individual departments.
That's right.
that's cool. And then my last question, just kind of to get Sarah going. I know that it was a concern about 4 months ago that when we ordered the furniture, if it would be here on time when we were ready to open.
We are still on track for that. All the furniture that has been picked out so far has about a 6-week lead time, so we're in good shape. Our timeline is to be ready to order furniture by the middle of January, and we're on track with that. So what will probably happen is once we get everything set, the furniture company will look at anything that has a little bit longer lead time. They will order it. They have warehouses, they can store it until we get it in. The other stuff that they get on a routine basis, they know the lead times on those. They'll probably have those ordered, so they're here sometime end of March, first part of April. So they'll be a month, 6 weeks ahead of when we need them. And then they will store them and then bring them up when we're ready. The Hendrickson is the company that we're using, same furniture company that we used on this building. They are gonna be coming up the first part of January to do a walkthrough before we start sheetrocking to make sure that we have all the power and data set up where it needs to go into the workstations, make sure that everything they need is set, and then they will do a final, they have the plans, but sometimes walls get moved a little bit, things like that. They'll do a final actual field measure before they order everything, so.
Any other questions? Jim, thanks very much for the update.
Thanks,
Thank
Jim.
you. And again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call. And I'd like to just take a second to thank the board. The continued support of maintenance is awesome to see. That's not always the case with boards. As I've told you when you start, I never come and say that I've got a whole bunch of money coming into my department. It's always going out. So I'm glad you understand it. And again, if you ever have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me.
Thanks very much.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
On to item 5, County Administrator. David.
Chair, members of the board, thank you. So every year, the county board adopts rules of procedure at the annual meeting. This year, I kind of went overboard at revising them. And so I wanted to give all of you a chance to review, comment, and process, because it's a substantial rewrite. The goal was to make them a little easier to understand and a little shorter. There's two audiences that are really appealed to in these. The first one is the public who might come to a meeting. And then the second part is the rules of procedure for the board. And so the public piece is really the first page and a half. And then the rest of it are the board rules. And then I know the chair noted this last meeting about ordinances. And so right at the rule number 4, ordinances, I just want to call out that historically, the Aitkin board has had 2 readings of ordinances. That's not required by statute. If you wanted to hold the public hearing and adopt an ordinance at one meeting, you could do that. You could also have your rule say that, and you could choose on a case-by-case basis to hold a public hearing and decide, we got a lot of good input, we need to do more work, we're gonna defer to the future to adopt, so you're not locked into having to do it at that meeting. So anyways, I present those for your thoughts, comments, and feedback as we get
That's
ready
awesome.
for next.
That's a good.
Commissioners, one thing on public forum participation. I'm just looking at nomenclature terminology. Citizens' public comment is what we've historically labeled that as. Is this a proposed change in that?
So, tell me again what you,
Public forum.
Under public forum participation? I know the intent
the
is,
citizen, you would rather it say citizen,
well, that's what we've
Always. had
always
that.
had.
that's fine. There's no rationale or magic to the nomenclature that's there. So we'll go with what historically has been there if that's.
Is everybody cool with that?
Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And we've done citizens' public comment, requests, questions from visitors. But I was just curious. And what again was the feeling on having 2 readings?
I think
Just keep the options open?
I think keeping the options open.
keeping it open, but what if so looking at rule 4, proposed ordinances must be considered at 2 regular meetings. What if we just change must to may, and then it says it leaves the avenues open?
I like that.
I think that's confusing,
Yep.
Okay,
because what is it and whose choice is it and when
you
is
gotta
that
make the
decision
decision.
made?
okay.
So that if you have the public hearing and you're a member of the public, do you expect the board would adopt it at that public hearing meeting?
Right.
Or not? And so you might have to rearrange your schedule to get to that meeting. Or if you knew it was gonna be 2 meetings, you could choose the one that was more convenient. So it seems
Right.
that it would just be it'd be confusing to me.
Rule 4 is an or. It's the first section or the second one, right?
Yeah, and I included the or to get to just simply outline the choices. You could choose the first one or the second one, or you could choose some other method, but those were the first one is basically what your current rules say. And the second one would simply allow the adoption of the ordinance at the same meeting as the public hearing.
Right.
Or
If I
at our
may, Chair.
discretion.
Yes, Commissioner Carney.
The only driver that I see for the or portion is that it does save time. Because if you require two, look how many times we did with the planning commission and the ordinance for the lake shore. You know, we had the public meeting, then it went back, and then we had two more notifications, then it went back for corrections, then it went two more public notices. You see what I'm saying? If we do that,
we
it
still
keeps pushing
approved
out,
it.
yeah, and it keeps pushing this out when you have amended changes. To where if you said the second one and you had your public meeting, you made your changes and it come back to the board and the board goes, well, nope, there's still something that needs to be tweaked. We don't have to have another public notice. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I believe
you
that's,
do.
well, if I'm understanding it, right? If you schedule a public hearing, you hold a public hearing.
Right.
You decide at that public hearing that you want to modify the ordinance.
Right.
Under your current rules, you would modify the ordinance
Then have to.
and then you'd come back, right? Under a rule that you could adopt it at the same meeting as the public hearing, then it really is, I think, a little bit of discretion, right? If you have an ordinance, and for simplicity's sake, right, the setback in the draft ordinance is 10 feet, and the proposed change is 100 feet.
Right.
Well, in good conscience, right, you might want to have another public hearing, because that's a huge change
Right.
to the impact, right? I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, I'm just concerned with the two public hearings required. And my question being within that statement is, if there's changes, like you just stated,
Yeah.
if they're major changes, I understand it, but if there's minor modification changes, are we having to send it out again like we have with the Lakeshore? Now, I understand the Lakeshore ordinance is a very important one, you know, but this has really drug on how many months, Brett? I mean,
A year.
over a year from
and
we
and
started
if-
doing this. I think we just keep pushing it because of minor changes and stuff like that. That's my only concern with the mandatory two public hearings.
And if I'm understanding that part of the comment and my own observation, right? Most of your ordinance have substantial public exposure and
Yeah.
input outside the public hearing.
Yeah.
Right? That there is a committee process, there's a planning commission, there's other people who are weighing in at other times, so that by the time you get to the public hearing, it's not the first time it's been rolled out in public.
And we have to differentiate between readings and public
public
hearings. Public hearings cost money because they have to be published in the paper.
Right, they do, but see, my comment on that is that the board has public hearings, and also the planning commission has public hearings. So we're double tapping these public hearings for the same items that we're talking
Same.
about. You see where I'm
Yeah,
coming from?
no, I see.
Is that, and I don't know if the ordinance, do you guys have public hearings? The ordinance committee, do you guys have public hearings? You don't, okay. Well, the planning commission does, because anything that we do before we put to the board, we have to go to the public. But then turn around, the board sends it back out for another public hearing,
Right. But they actually have to apply.
so.
The public has to apply to the planning and zoning. So I think that's the difference between
What do
the
you mean,
Lake
public?
Shore change. Well, if somebody wants VRBO, they have to get a permit, they have to pay, they have to.
Right, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is when the ordinances are changed by the ordinance committee, it goes
Okay.
to the planning commission. And then when the
Right.
planning commission, we have to send it out for a public notice.
Well,
As
I
a
don't-
discussion, we bring
Does it
them
have
in,
to go to the
and
planning
then
zoning committee?
It does, it comes to the planning commission after the ordinance, because we have to look at it.
Yeah, and I don't
what I'm
have
saying?
it, I don't have the
I-
the
yeah.
zoning ordinance in front of me.
I don't know.
Typically, the zoning ordinance has a provision that the planning commission has some role in amendments to the zoning ordinance.
We review it, and then we've sent them out for public notice, because we had people come in and talk to us on 3 or 4 occasions as this process has gone, and then we've done it again with the board. I don't want to belabor this, it's just.
And today is a discussion. I commend our administrator for putting this on as a discussion item, as a precursor, as a prelude to formal adoption in
Right.
January.
Mr. Chair, I have a question, or I have a comment that we have a lot of lakes here, we have a lot of public here that are very involved in the
Sure.
ordinances. So I think the more information that we can get out there, I don't care if we have to have another public meeting or another, I mean, you just have to have it, I mean,
Right.
or you're going,
Yeah, I have no
There'll be a
preference,
lot
I
of-
just wanna put it out there that, yes, we
Yeah.
are having numerous.
I mean, I
public
hate to
meetings.
say that, well, some people don't have that and it just gets shoved through.
Yeah.
And that's bad. You don't want that to happen either,
Yeah.
so,
But I'm
I
good
mean,
We'll be looking for adoption in January on this.
next year.
I would like to see a clarification from our county attorney. You know,
Sure.
as
Why, what's your
specifically, what are the roles, the latitude of the Planning Zoning Commission? Are we duplicating? I'd like to see his comments as
Mr.
legal
Chair.
counsel.
My question would be to the county attorney, I guess, is if the planning commission has a public hearing, we obviously as a board have to have a reading and allow public comment, but do we have to have a second public hearing?
That's the
And that,
point of
I think,
asking
is
the
the
county
question.
That's
that
a
attorney.
good question.
Right.
Sure, absolutely.
And just for clarification, that's a subset of your public hearings, right? The ones that involve the planning commission, and then you still have a universe of public hearings that don't go through the planning commission.
Right, so any
Yes.
land use would have a public hearing by the planning commission. Any non-land use we would have to have a public hearing regardless, at least one.
And my thing is, I agree with Lori and we've seen this where as a board, we had the lake associations come in. And, you know, I mean, this is a touchy subject, and you got Leclerc, you got Big Sandy, you got
Any number.
all of these
There's a
that
lot of
show
lakes
up,
here.
and they all want their say.
yeah.
And I agree with Lori, I don't think we can be too transparent to enough.
True.
No, I agree with that also. The more we've brought in public, it's just getting to that point, you know, and then, so clarification would be good, as Commissioner Carney brought up, is if it's a minor change, do we have to send it all back through the process?
Well, and we can do our due diligence in getting all the information we can in the public.
Sure, absolutely.
If they didn't see it, you know, it's not our fault.
Well, and
Or-
that's you
that's
run
what's
into
hard.
a lot of times, you know, everybody wants the information, but a lot of people aren't willing to get it.
Yeah.
So it's up to, you know, I think we have historically gone above and beyond to get things out to the public, so I don't see a problem with continuing that.
David, is that some direction?
No.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, I think it's clear direction. I think, obviously, I'll steer off what the county attorney, information that he supplies, but absent any more specific direction on the public hearing, and the reading, of the readings, the draft will come back to you with basically the same language as the existing, with 2 readings and an alternate of 1 reading, and you can figure it out on January 6th.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Well,
Sounds good.
1 or 2 readings at our discretion. I mean, I think that
Right.
would be.
Yeah.
I mean, something might be really simple where you only need 1. I mean, that's,
Right, and I,
Can get that
my
clarification.
comment to that would be the same as with Commissioner LaVisca, that if the rules can't just say 1 or 2.
yeah.
Right, because then it's 2, well, who decides and when do they decide? If it says at least 1, right, then you would always have the option to have
2 more.
more. And you always, and I would say regardless of what the rules say, you always have the option to defer adoption of an ordinance
Right.
until you're comfortable with it being the way it is and comfortable with the public input and the opportunities for public input that you've seen.
I agree with that.
It's better.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Priorities.
So, in your packet, I just took a snapshot of the 2026 goals in the strategic plan, and then a copy of the annual goals, because those are the ones that are continually worked on. And so those obviously are gonna take time and effort of county staff and county commissioners. My question today is just to have some discussion or give me some feedback on, are there other things that aren't necessarily strategic plan priorities that as a board, you want to be sure to accomplish in 2026. And this, in my mind, this is not a one and done, like if you don't think of it today, we can't do it, but rather an invitation to say, what, are there groups you'd like to meet with? Are there projects you would like more information on? Just kind of give me some direction, because I'm still relatively new and trying to figure out what your kind of what your annual schedule is and what your expectations are. So I just invite your feedback.
Commissioners?
Sheriff's building.
I think one that we're gonna be confronted with is the EMS districts. And I think, again, a precursor to that will be North Memorial's presentation in January at the township meeting. Other comments?
When you're talking EMS, are you talking about the taxing district?
Yes. Potential. I'm looking not to propose it, but just, there's gonna
about
be
it.
discussions
Yeah.
on it.
Absolutely.
Again, if you don't have something today, it doesn't mean you can't bring it up
Right,
at any
right.
time.
Well, there's a lot going on with the groups that are already planning and moving forward with our, vitality movement. I don't know what's next on the list, I can't remember. What's next on the list on there?
Well, yeah,
If I
these
There's
are,
all for 26.
yeah, these are what we have in
Yeah,
place,
I
but,
haven't got yet.
aside from that, you know,
Yeah.
what he's looking for is anything that
Priority.
we may have as a separate priority, which I think is a good idea for him to kind of know and know what we're planning on doing moving forward. Like him and I had a discussion already. I'm gonna be moving forward on trying to meet with some groups to see what type of a wolf problem we do have in Aitkin County and get some more information on that. A resolution was brought to me by, Senator Farnsworth that came out of Representative Stauber's office. It was a resolution from California where they actually got some, federal agency to come in and remove some wolves, but the route that they took was declaring an emergency. And, you know, you can't just declare an emergency without knowing if one exists. So that's just something I'm gonna be looking
That's
into.
California for you.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
did.
Commissioner Carney?
Thank you, Chair. One comment for question is for the facilities. What is the movement on the sheriff's building being built?
That is.
The boat and water?
Yes, the boat and water building. What's the
Mr.
status
Chair.
on this?
So the status is that is planned for a spring 2026 start.
I'd just like to say, Dave, I appreciate you being available to talk about the concerns,
Right.
like i.e. the Big Sandy Lake
Yeah.
thing.
Any other comments?
No, just thanks for the opportunity, and as we progress through the year, you know, if you have ideas, you know, feel free to raise them, and always, I mean, my request is that think about things that as a board, that you want to be seen as being successful at or doing or leading on, and we can make that happen.
Okay.
David, any other updates?
I just wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
You too?
Two.
And again, welcome to Aitkin County.
Yeah.
We're glad to have you. On to Commissioner Committee updates. Who wants to start?
I have nothing.
Nothing since last week.
Oh,
Lots of
Mr.
PT.
I have lots of concerns with AIS. We haven't had a true meeting in 4 months,
and I have not received a response.
so that's one concern I want to bring up. Because we do have, you know, $40,000 we take out of AIS for our boat and water, you know? And 4 months, we've been waiting to see the budget and how it's gonna play out and how we finish the year, and I'm frustrated.
Yeah.
And I know you are too, Mr. Chair, but it's like, do we need to, and I hate to say it, I like the guy, but if he ain't doing his job, do we need to have him removed and somebody else put in there? Because we're not getting budget, we're not having meetings. I've driven up and started to get here, and Commissioner Weedle, you called me and said, ain't no sense in coming, there's only 3, we don't even have a quorum here. So, I mean, to me, that's frustrating because,
Maybe he doesn't have any information. Maybe they haven't given him any
Is there,
direction.
is there funding that the county puts to AIS?
No.
it's state.
Actually, the county gets approximately 260-some thousand per year
Right.
since 2014, specifically for AIS related. The complexities come in that it was spearheaded by SWCD
Right.
when Steve Hughes was here. Steve had it mastered.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
And then when Steve left, a lot of changes happened. And if Kathleen were here, I'm sure she'd verify, the money actually comes to the county. And the county subsequently turns that over, minus 40,000 that we keep for boat and water for the sheriff's office to SWCD. So they are technically in charge of running this program.
Okay,
I'm not saying that that can't change. What we need to do, and I've tried to get this, it's been, 11 years since 2014, the original document that, who's in charge of this?
the concern of my question towards that is that, is there a state statute that states that the AIS committee has to be meeting for this funds to keep coming? Or can this, if the state finds out that the meetings aren't happening, will the funding be cut?
Well, the funding is going to be cut in half next year.
Well, that's just budgeting. I'm talking about if we're not fulfilling our duties as this committee not meeting, can these funds be pulled back and go, you're not doing your portion?
That's where we need to find that original document.
Okay.
And it's between Aitkin County per se and SWCD. We'll send out some emails this afternoon to get to the bottom of this.
That was my
Thank you.
frustration. The other thing is I had a meeting with Big Sandy Lake Association. I've got a call into Mr. Ratz. They have a lawyer. And, they're talking about lawsuits.
Blame them.
And I understand their frustration, but as we've talked in prior meetings, that if their property values all drop,
Doesn't crash.
all of the residents in Aitkin County will be affected with the levy. Now, we do have a meeting on the 5th of January. It originally started with Congressman Stauber, the Corps, the district commander, the colonel, and they only invited Jim Ratz, our county attorney there. And they're having it in our building. So I called and told them, you don't come to our ball field and tell us who gets to come and who don't. So the last memo that was sent out, our administrator, the assessor, Mr. Ratz will be at that meeting, and I will be at that meeting because it affects my district
And the county surveyor.
and the county surveyor. Thank you.
Good, yes.
Because Randy can talk their language, but I know that
He can, I know.
but going back to 1884, they talked about land, not elevation. Now, they're doing their survey based on elevation. So we'll see how that meeting comes out. So that was my thing on the Big Sandy. Talon bought Eagle Mine. They're no longer an exploration company. They are a mining company. Their stocks went up 35% over the weekend.
If we'd only known.
If we, yeah.
Way to go, Brett. You didn't
Darn it,
tell
you're supposed to
us.
keep this up.
You should have kept us up.
I've been telling you guys.
I know.
Some
I
people
will
might have
just
invested
say
in
that
town
I
when they
mean,
first started.
Yeah, some might have.
but that's basically all I have because Jim gave the facilities.
Yeah.
And I will say, I'd like to give kudos to our highway department and all the other departments that when that parking lot was a skating rink,
Yeah.
they showed up and they show up to remove the snow. It does show this as a team. So that's all I got, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Sample. Commissioner Carney?
Yeah, short and sweet. All of the committees, AEOA, ARDC, ACA, it was just the wrap-up of the year. Not much going on. I did swing out yesterday, and hopefully you guys don't mind. I went to all the offices and building, wished them from the board Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and that we appreciate all that they're doing. And other than that, Chair, Merry Christmas. Thank you guys for working as a team this last year.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful.
It's a good group here.
Way to keep it together.
Mr. Chair, I think,
I'll stick up.
just before we adjourn here, I guess, I'd like to
I got a
say,
couple updates.
yeah, oh, sorry, yeah.
Facilities, thank you, Mr. Jim Bright. AIS, thank you for bringing it up. The only thing, updates on the airport terminal grant, that was submitted yesterday afternoon. So we'll be on the telephone with powers to be to help massage that. And that's all I've got. Commissioner LaBisca?
Yeah, I just wanted to say it's been another year, honor working with all of you, and I think that we work well, and we're leaving the county again better than we found it at the beginning of the year, and, welcome to David, and, Merry Christmas to everybody.
Thank you. David?
Mr. Chair, the discussion of the committees and maybe the AIS committee just makes me want to ask a larger question. Do you want on January 6th to consider which committees you want to participate in? Are there any that you would want to change membership on or,
Didn't we
So I
send
think
out a?
April sent an email out on
Yeah.
that.
oh, not your individual membership, but are there
Oh.
organizations we pay money to be a member of that you would want to reconsider in 2026 before we pay those bills?
I want to be part of Brett's club.
I don't see why every other month we partake with Bemidji because they,
Is that the
and that
natural
joint
resources?
powers,
Joint Powers meeting?
because you go there and they look at you and they say, and everything we discuss is all about the farming
Midwest.
and the western part of the state, and we
Yes.
pay money for that.
Which group is that?
That's the,
Upper Mississippi Headwaters?
No.
no,
Natural
April, could you
Resources,
bring up
Joint
the
Powers.
committees board? We did this. I did
Right
this the
here.
first year when I
Joint
got
Powers,
on.
Natural
And,
Resources.
and
I
then
think
Brett,
Jake
oh, here it is,
Becker.
right here, we got it. It is the, just, I have to go down.
We've
yeah,
actually
joint.
talked about either dropping it or trying to get them to join MRC or, N Club.
It's the Joint Powers Natural Resources Board. And Commissioner Sample's the primary, I was the alternate, and then the first year I did it, and I came to the same conclusion when I talked to Brett, he took it over. And I said, just go up there and see what you think too. And their ditching is different, their farming is different, their wetlands are different. There's nothing that they talk about that includes us. We should be in the Joint Powers in our area
With that
like-
task, a cast.
But other than, you know, cause like MRC and, N Club.
Right.
Both talk about the lakeshore pilt, all this
Yes.
pilt stuff, all the CPA, you know, they're all doing the same thing, but we're trying to, I don't know what we should do.
And my thing is, we're spending money and you go up there.
Everybody is.
But I'm just saying, we're spending money, we go up there and they talk about the ditching for the farming.
Totally different.
Totally different. They don't have anything, and they always look at me and they say, well, you know, this don't affect Aitkin County, but, and I'm sitting there going,
Everything that they discuss up there, their deer population, their wolf population,
Yeah.
it's not applicable. We're totally different.
they're
And
elk
that's-
herds.
They're elk herds and all of that stuff to where we're really not a facilitator, we should be joining a different, like, I agree with you, a different joint powers board.
Well, I think
In our area.
we're on what we need to be on.
And we
don't
could, we
need to
could
be on.
just step
the
out
Jim-
of that,
the
don't you
Midgie thing.
agree?
Well, it depends upon the provisions of that joint powers
Yeah.
agreement.
Right,
gotta
and
look
we
at
could
that.
take a look at that.
Yeah.
So I'll try to do that before
Dig into it.
January
I mean, they've
6th.
even asked us, why are you part of this?
Yes.
They've even asked, you know,
I
it's
mean,
more of a
the
DNR.
commissioner for the DNR was
Yeah.
like,
What do you
Aiken
guys-
County's
what do you
part of
guys-
this?
Yeah,
Well, it sounds to me like it would kind of be like Aiken County being with St. Louis County when it comes to federal woodlands.
Exactly.
We don't have any.
Well, and we
None
are
of
with
that affects us.
MRC,
Right.
because they're all, or,
But that's a
yeah,
huge
yeah,
area.
well, MRC and Club, I mean,
no, I agree with
but
you.
you have Pennington, you have
it's
Kitson,
time
they're
is
all
money.
in N Club
Time and
too.
money.
So,
Thank you.
and MRC.
Thank you, David. Any closing and 2025 comments?
Thank you, April, for the
Yes.
job you've done.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And all the extras you do, very much appreciated, April.
Just on top of everything.
Lucky to have you.
Yes, Merry Christmas,
Non-debatable motion.
everybody.
I move to adjourn.
Thank you.
Undebatable.
Support.
Commissioner Carney moves adjournment. That motion supported by Commissioner LaVisca. All in favor, say aye.
Oh,
Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. The meeting is adjourned.
okay, I do have one since the meeting's over. One more comment. If nobody has anywhere to go on Christmas Day, Gabby's is closed down, but we will be serving dinner at 1 o'clock. So if you don't have anywhere to go, you're more than welcome to come out there. My family will be there. I've got residents that don't have anywhere to go that are coming there to eat.
Very nice.
So
We used to
please,
do that too every Christmas
If you do-
and Thanksgiving.
you want to pop in, just pop in, no RSVP.
Travis.
They'll be